Armando Baker here.
It's Luke May.
This is Tyler Hansbrough.
University of North Carolina.
Here's North Carolina.
I just want to shout out my boy JBear_YT.
JBear_YT.
It's Carolina family, baby.
Go Heels.
Go Heels.
What is up, boys? Welcome back to another video. Today, we're looking at the Week 2 college basketball top 25. I'm not sure if this is classified as Week 1 or Week 2 for these rankings. I listed it as Week 2, I guess, and that makes sense. But anyways, just a few teams I want to mention who got bumped out of my top 25 this week. We had Florida State, Louisville, both of those having two big losses like that. I mean, ACC honestly isn't looking too great anyway. Anyways, also we had Michigan State get knocked out of the top 25 as well. So let's get right into these rankings here. Starting at number 25, we are going to be having the UConn Huskies. Now, UConn was a team I wasn't exactly very high on coming into this year, but they're off to a hot start. Obviously, they haven't played much competition yet, and they won't actually for a good while. But right now, they are off to 2-0 start with some big, like upwards of 30-point wins in each game. So I got to give them a little bit of credit there, although I don't think they're a top 25 team per se. On to number 24, we have the Maryland Terrapins. Maryland is pretty darn good. I like what I've seen from Maryland. I think they're, what are they, 3-0 right now? They're playing really good basketball. They're a team that was in the AP's top 25 coming into this year. They beat a team in Vermont just, yesterday, that I actually think is really good. I mean, they haven't really had any dominant wins, but Vermont, I do think, is really good, and so I think that's actually a fairly good win for them there in the Big Ten. But their real competition doesn't really start until December, so we'll see how it goes. Number 23, we have Rutgers. Now, I'm starting to think that Rutgers is not a top 25 team. Don't get me wrong. I'm thinking they definitely haven't played up to my expectations for them so far. I mean, they are undefeated. They don't have a loss. I mean, the competition hasn't been great. And they just scored 48 points in the game. They scored 48 points against Merrimack. They were down at halftime. It was honestly pretty rough. But I still think the team has a lot of potential, and I think it would do better than this. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Number 22, we have yet another Big Ten team. Big Ten looking really good, honestly. And it's the Indiana Hoosiers. They are also off to a 2-0 start as well. Again, kind of similar to, what's it? I already forget. But they do have one dominant win over Northern Illinois. And Eastern Michigan, it was the opener. It was a pretty close game. That kind of overrated me for them a little bit. But anyways, on to number 21. We have Houston. I'm not sure why Houston's logo always looks so terrible in these. But Houston is like a top 15 team in the AP poll. I'm not so high on them. They don't have... They're not playing a tough schedule until like a good while. They do have Virginia coming up, but Virginia is honestly probably not very great at all. And they play Alabama coming in December. So we'll see. But right now I do have them at 21. Number 20, we have Garrison Brooks and the Mississippi State Bulldogs. I like this team. I like the way they've played so far this year. I think they have pretty good upside. Probably more so than the next team that they have on this list. Garrison Brooks so far off to a pretty good start in the Southeastern Conference. I think they're going to be contending for one of those best team spots right now. They haven't played much competition, and they won't for a while. But I'm high on this team, man. Number 19, we have the Auburn Tigers. Carolina fans, if you're listening to this, Walker Kessler is averaging like 4. Just want to say that. Just wanted to get that out of the way. But Auburn overall is a really good team. They are 2-0. Yeah, Auburn, goodness. Walker Kessler scored 6 in the first game, 2 in the second game. So, yeah, he's averaging 4 points. So, Carolina fans, obviously I'm not wishing the guy bad or anything, but you know what I'm saying. Number 18, we have Illinois, another team who lost their best player last year. But obviously, their coaching and their depth is proving them that they're still a pretty good team. Obviously, we'll have to see once they get into the Big Ten schedule part of things and get to some real competition. But so far, so good for Illinois. Number 17, we have Tennessee. Pretty much same story as Illinois. They got really good depth. They do have 5-star talent on that roster, and they're doing really well. Number 16, it's our first one-loss team on this list so far, I believe, and the Kentucky Wildcats. Goodness, man, Kentucky is so. It's interesting for me with Kentucky because they played Duke a pretty good game. They were really sloppy, but they were able to hang around for most of it, and they went out and destroyed Robert Morris the other day. But I just don't know that I'm sold, man. I mean, the freshmen haven't looked fantastic for Kentucky. Oscar Sheba, I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it or not. He's looked really good. He's averaging like 10 boards a game or so. He's looked really good. But anyways, I think this team is good. I think the experience is gonna have to carry this team. I don't think any of the freshmen on the team are gonna be able to carry them, but we'll have to wait and find out. Now, 15, we have Ohio State. They are 2-0, but I did move them down a couple spots because, boy, have they not looked great. Ohio State has had they are 2-0, but they have had back-to-back, like, close ones. I mean, Akron they beat by 1 point on a buzzer beater. And then not last night, maybe was it Friday or so, they played Niagara and won by 10 points. Didn't look great doing it. They were up by 1 at halftime or something like that. So, I don't know, man. Ohio State is not looking great. But we'll have to wait and find out to see. I would not doubt if they're going to get upset pretty soon. Number 14, we have Virginia Tech. I am so high on Virginia Tech, man. Mike Young is just a fantastic coach. And if they're not ranked in the AP poll this week, that's pretty bad. Because I think I'm so high in this team. I think they're really good. They are off to a 2-0 start. They have such great depth. And they're looking pretty dominant so far. Oops. Didn't mean to do that, but anyways. Number 13, we are here at Oregon, who I believe may be the second best team in the Pac-12 this year. But yeah, Oregon, lately, like before the season started, I was getting lower and lower in Oregon, but then I saw them play a couple times, and they proved me a little bit wrong. So, number 12, we have Alabama. Love the coaching there in Alabama. Nate Oates, I think he does a pretty good job with the way he plays. And they got some good talent as well, so they'll be really good this season. Number 11, speaking of talent on their roster, we got the Memphis Tigers. I mean, Penny Hardaway just getting all the recruits to come to Memphis for whatever reason. But yeah, they're looking good. Haven't played much competition yet, obviously, but I think they're a really good team. I'm looking forward to that Virginia Tech-Memphis matchup in a couple of weeks. That should be a good one. Number 10, another one-loss team, Texas. I moved them down like 4 or 5 spots this week. Based on their first half performance, I mean, they played Gonzaga. So we got to be a little bit lenient here when we come to these rankings. But they did not look good. Yesterday was a terrible day for Texas athletics, man. I mean, they lost to Kansas in football. That's horrendous. And they lost to Gonzaga, which is a good team. But the first half, they looked pretty darn bad. Anyways, so yeah, Texas is here at 10. I mean, they'll be just fine. It's just one loss to the number 1 team in the country. But we will see how that turns out for them. Number 9, I had North Carolina. And yes, which does mean Duke has passed Carolina on this ranking. But North Carolina, they pulled a close one out against Brown the other night. They didn't look fantastic. I mean, the offense looks really, really good. Defense did struggle a little bit against Brown. I mean, I thought more so than other people that Brown had to get some credit. They looked really good, I thought. But Carolina also, their offense looks pretty outstanding. So we'll see how it turns out when we get to some competition in a couple of weeks here. Which means, yes, unfortunately, I do have Duke at 8. I'm sorry, Carolina fans. I'm sorry I had to do it. But they beat a ranked team. I mean, they didn't look fantastic doing it. But Trevor Keels looks like the real deal. And I can't deny they did look a little bit sloppy against Campbell, but they did play the night before, so I didn't hurt them too much for that. I thought they did have to move up in front of the Tar Heels this week. Number 7, we have Villanova. What a game that was between UCLA and Villanova the other day. I honestly feel like I moved them down a little bit too much, to be honest with you. They are 1-1 now, and they played a really good UCLA team, really close until the end. They ended up losing by 9, but that game was a lot closer than a 9-point loss. So Villanova is really good. Colin Gillespie looks pretty good, and Jay Wright's obviously one of the best coaches in college basketball. Number 6, we have the Purdue Boilermakers. Purdue, I mean, they got some studs. They got some real, like, draft level high-end talent there. I just don't know about the depth. We'll see. Like, they play Carolina a couple of weeks. I'm really looking forward to that game. But obviously, their top talent, like Jaden Ivey, is really talented, and they look really good. So they're here at 6. Number 5 is the defending national champion, Baylor Bears. And yes, they don't have the star talent that they did from the past couple of years, where they've been really, really good. But they haven't lost, and I'm respecting that they won the national championship. I do honestly think that Purdue is probably a better team, but Baylor, they deserve to be here. Scott Drew is one of the best coaches in college basketball. Number 4, we had the Michigan Wolverines, the top team out of the Big Ten. They look really good, undefeated, 2-0. Haven't played much competition yet either. First game against Buffalo, they won by 12, and Prairie View at A&M, I believe, they beat by like 30, so they're looking good. Number 3, we have the UCLA Bruins, who I thought about moving at 2. I really did, but I decided to keep them at 3. That was a really tough decision, honestly, because you could argue they obviously deserve to move up over Kansas, they look pretty good, and I think Kansas beat a really good Michigan State team, but UCLA get that top 10 win. So, anyways, speaking of number 2, we have Kansas. They beat a good Michigan State team. I really think that Michigan State team was good. I did have them ranked. I had to move them out because of the loss, obviously, but I think they'll end up being back in the rankings by the end of the year. So, and a little bit of a rough start against Tarleton State the other day, but they cleaned it up in the second half. And, of course, number 1, unarguably, is the Gonzaga Bulldogs. They looked fantastic in the first half against Texas. They were really good. Drew Timme, he played fantastic. Chet Holmgren, questionable performance from him. But anyways, it was a good performance all around from the Bulldogs, and they definitely deserve to be at this number 1 spot right now. So, guys, let me know what you think in the comments down below about these rankings. Please like, subscribe, turn on post notifications, do all that YouTube stuff, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.